Before we get into tonight's show, I want to give a quick shout out to Elite Mounts in Salina, Ohio. They make top-notch 100% American-made tool organization gear that fits just about any brand of handheld power tools, batteries, and chargers, along with other specialty mounts for your home workshop needs. You can check them out at elitemounts.com. And the guys over there were nice enough to offer a 10% discount for all my listeners. Just use the code Bigfoot10 at checkout. Enjoy the new episode format, thanks to Elite Mounts.
Out in the woods, shadows creep slow. Footprints deep where no man should go. Cold winds howl through hollers and brooks. Whispers of Bigfoot in the way it looks. Mist monsters and bullets in the night. Under a pale moon, strange glowing light. Truth out there like a blade it cuts. Mist monsters and bullets run amok.
And welcome back for part 2 with Angie from Squatch'ya Doin. Hopefully everybody watched last week's episode and they're all caught up on what brought us to this point. But last time we were talking, you had just got back from Maine. No, you'd went to Minnesota for the second time and heard the samurai chatter.
Yes.
So let's just pick it up from there.
Okay. So we got back from Maine, and like I said, that just really cemented my whole Bigfooting. And I'm like, I have got to keep learning about these things. And then I made a conscious effort that when I leave to go on I call them my allergy getaways, that I'm going to start trying to go to Squatchy areas. So that would be a good pastime for me to do stuff is while I'm away. That way I'm not stuck in the house all the time. It gets me out doing stuff.
Wait a minute. Before you go on, did you notice how much easier it was to breathe in Oregon?
It's nice, isn't it?
Me too. Like I struggle with allergies too, and I live in the middle of cornfields, so I'm constantly just bombarded with that stuff. But man, in Oregon, like I was breathing so much better.
And the air smells so good. It smells of pine. It's just so nice. So nice.
I was off topic, but I had to bring that up because I was like, I bet she gets it. Because like the whole time I was there, I was like, I can breathe through my nose.
Yes. Like, what? I don't have to be a mouth breather?
All right. I'll stop interrupting now.
Oh, no, you're all good. So that's what took me to me going to the Pacific Northwest for the first time. So on my next allergy getaway, that was in October of 2024, this past October, I went up to Port Angeles, which is the entrance to the Olympic National Park. And so I said, if I have to be away for my allergies, like I said, I'm going to go to someplace squatchy. Well, what's more squatchy than the Pacific Northwest and, the Olympic National Park?
Right.
And so if you do any type of Sasquatch research, I mean, that's like the Mecca. That's where it all goes down. But that in Washington and Oregon. So I started going to try to investigate. I got brave. I told my husband, I said, I'm going to go out in the woods and I'm going to try to start finding these things. Before they've always found me, I said, I'm going to start trying to go find them and learn of them. I'm going to become a boots on the ground researcher. So that's what I did. And armed with my cell phone and a selfie stick, I headed out to the Olympic National Park. Where do you go looking for a needle in a haystack, And so I didn't know where to go. I didn't know what to do. Once again, nobody there. I'm just there on my own. And through my dumb luck, I believe I found an area that was having activity. It was a total freak of nature. I kind of just ended up finding it. I was going up to Hurricane Ridge one day, and when I got to the entrance, it was closed. They had ice up there, so they closed the road and you couldn't get up there. And I'm like, well, shoot, now what? where do I go? That totally screwed up my plans that day. And so I'm like, well, there's a little side road here. I wonder where this goes. Now I'm just off exploring. So I turn down this road and I'm driving, and it's like you go through like this residential area, and then you're like in this, what I call, because I'm from Arkansas, maybe I'm using the wrong terminology, but to me, it looked like old growth. I mean, the trees were huge and they were tall. And when I say huge, I mean like huge around. And they were tall and they were just everywhere. And I'm driving, and my mouth is like, wow, this is awesome. And I have the windows down because it just smells wonderful. And I'm just driving real slow, looking at everything. All of a sudden, I just hear these ravens just going crazy. And I'm like, that is weird, but I never see that in Arkansas. So I kind of just pulled over and I was watching them. And I'm like, those birds are going crazy. And I kept watching. I'm like, that's just not normal. I'm like, but okay, I've had my fill. So I'm driving, and then something just told me to stop and watch the birds again. All right. So I stop and I'm watching the birds, and they're acting crazy. And that kind of got me going on this spot. Now, when you're first starting out, you think you know stuff, but you don't know stuff. And I thought, and I won't be afraid to say it, even though it makes me look like a complete dum-dum. I thought the sounds that I was hearing, now I knew obviously I could see the ravens and stuff carrying on, but I was also hearing what I thought were monkey sounds. And so I had my recorder, my cell phone, and I'm sitting here recording it going, oh my gosh, I'm getting Sasquatch stuff. Come to find out, it wasn't Sasquatch stuff. These ravens were making sounds I had never heard ravens make before. And in my zealousness, I thought it was Sasquatch. So yeah, that was a big newbie mistake. But I didn't know that at the time. At the time, I thought I was in a really hot spot. I'm like, wow, I stumbled upon something. Little did I know, I did stumble upon something. I was just looking at the wrong thing. I did get out of the car, and I termed this area after a while Romper Room. And somebody asked me once, actually it was Matt Moneymaker, he's like, why did you call it Romper Room? I said, if you've ever, well, you were there. Sometimes you look out into the forest and it's all covered in that green moss, and it looks like a really spongy and bouncy, like you could just walk in there and just kind of start doing gymnastics and tumbling around. And, there's trees falling everywhere, but it wasn't like messy falling. It was kind of like organized where you could like do stuff, like you make a routine if you wanted to. And I was just like, that's why I just kind of called it Romper Room. And I got out of the car and I was looking around and I saw footprints. And I was just like, okay, even though these are birds are not making these footprints. So I knew I was at a place that they were either there or there at one time. So I just made it my practice every day to go out there to see if I could catch anything new. I would look for footprints. I would listen for vocalizations. I would go out there and I would sit for a long time. I would talk to the woods, hoping that they might be able to hear me. And then in the process, I would go home at night and I would watch Bigfoot videos like I did. And I was watching one particular gentleman named Scott Carpenter. And I was watching a video of his where he, at his gifting site, he would put out rocks and stuff and they were getting interacted with. I said, maybe I should try that up there because I'm not really doing anything. I keep hearing the ravens and I see footprints, but besides that, that's all that's kind of going on here. So I'm like, maybe I could try that. So I went to the local store and I bought some dice. And I took the dice out to my spot. And mind you, nobody knew what I was doing. This isn't like a tourist road where a bunch of tourists and stuff are. This is like only the people who live in that area drive on this road. I could be out there for hours and maybe one or two cars drive by. So it was
that
pretty
sounds wonderful.
Yeah, there wasn't busy at all. So I could go out there and do stuff all day long and maybe I see like one or two people. So I went out there with these dice to Romper Room and I was looking around to where I could place them. Now I was a little scared because I was green about going too far into the woods on my own because I didn't want, bear, mountain lion, or other stuff to mess with me. And
Well, not only that, up there, like I noticed it too, just driving around the area we were in. I mean, that stuff is so dense.
dense.
it wouldn't take long to get turned around, and like there's miles and miles and miles between roads.
Yeah.
I can see why people
Get
go
lost.
missing in those forests all the time.
Oh, for sure. 100%. And like I said, since I was alone, I was trying to be cautious and safe. I didn't want to wander too far in. So I was trying to find an area that was close to the road so I didn't have to wander too far, but then I knew that nobody might see what I'm doing. So I found a spot that I liked, and I put the dice out. I put them in a particular order, and I left all the number ones facing up. That way, if anything messed with it, I would know that, and then I covered it with bark. So it looked like tree, like it just fell off the tree naturally. It blended in perfect, and nobody knew it was there. And so I was all excited, and I went home, and I was talking out to the woods. I'm like, hey, I left you some toys. So if you want to play with my toys, come play with it. And so I went home, and like that night I was just chomping at the bit. I wanted so badly for the next day to come. Next day comes, I zoom out there, lift up the bark, and they look the same. I was like, dang it. I'm like, okay.
Got my hopes all up there.
Right?
And man.
I know, I'm so sorry. And so I was just like, well, poo. But then I had plans of going over to Yakima, Washington, because they were having a Bigfoot conference over there. And I had time to kill. And so I'm like, okay, I'll drive the 5 hours and then go over there for the weekend, do the conference, and come back. So that's what I did. I just left the setup there, and I boogied on because nobody knew it was there. It blended in perfect. Like I said, the bark was covering it. So I get there, go to the conference. It was fantastic. Loved it. And actually, that's where, long story, I met Matt Moneymaker there because I wanted him to listen to the recordings that I thought were monkey sounds, but they were actually ravens. So can you imagine what a fool I look like walking up there to Matt Moneymaker being like, hey, can you listen to these and tell me what they are? And he's just like, those are ravens. But anyways, but there was there was something else on that recording that caught his attention. So he actually sat and talked to me for like 3 hours that night, just he's like interviewing me, trying to get the lowdown of where I got this recording. And in the process, he had to do some filming with Flash of Beauty. And so as he was doing that, that's how I met Jill.
Okay.
And Jill.
And they're
like,
cool as hell too.
Yeah. And she's like, do you know who Todd Neese is? I'm like, no. She's like, well, he lives in Arkansas. I said, well, I don't know who he is. Mm-hmm. And she's like, well, here, let me give you his number. So that's how I got connected to Todd. Such a crazy, crazy world. So anyways, the conference is over, and I head back to Port Angeles. So the next day I go check my spot, cause like I said, that had been sitting there for 3 or 4 days. And I get there and I lift up the bark. It had been messed with.
Really?
Now I had put 5 dice out originally. There was only 3 dice under the bark. There were 2 dice missing. And I sat there and I could not believe it. And because Scott Carpenter was saying that he would always put 5 out, and when he would come back, there would be 3. And I think he said either one was on the side and one was thrown away, or they were both thrown away. I can't remember now what he said, and I was like, that's what happened with me. I had 3 and 2 of them were gone. And then I got looking. One was right below my feet, right on the ground. And the other one was shoved into a hole in the hole, because it was on a stump. And I had placed them inside of a stump that had, like, I guess the inside of the tree still there. And I sent in the bark over it. But on the outside of the stump, it had like growth and other plants and stuff on it and kind of eaten up. And there was a hole on the side, and it got shoved down inside of a hole. Wow. And I could not believe it. I'm like, it works. It works. Not only does it work, I had interaction with the Sasquatch. I was and I was just like, holy smokes. So I reset it, but this time I made it different. So I got the other 2 back up on there, and this time I think I made all the numbers 2. I can't remember now what I did. I think I made them all 2, but then I separated them. No, I kept them together that time. And went back. Nothing ever happened. I was like, oh. So then I switched them up, and I made like 3, then 2, and covered it back up. But I never got interaction after that. That was the only time I got the interaction. And then it was time for me to go home. So I'm like, if I ever go back to that area, I know exactly where I'm going because they interacted with my dice. And I'm sure if I would have stayed there longer and was able to keep it up, I'm sure I could have gotten more activity, but that didn't start happening until it was almost time for me to leave. So I didn't have time to keep on with it.
Did you leave the dice there? Did you leave the dice there?
No, I have them.
Okay.
I brought them home. I
I
did
was
leave
just
like
thinking,
I did go to the store and buy him a little crystal as a goodbye present and left it. So I don't know if that's there or not, but
I don't know how I feel about the gifting
why do you say that?
because I've heard mixed reactions to the gifting,
Oh, really?
uh, especially when it comes to food.
Oh, I don't do food. I'm
Okay.
opposed to food.
Yeah, that like you hear a lot of times, and I've had people on my show where they start giving food,
Hmm.
and it's the same reason they have to put the signs up that say "Do not feed the bears,"
Yep.
because they get used to it, and
Yep.
then as soon as you stop giving them food, they start messing with the people around them.
Which is not fair, which is not
Right?
right.
They weren't asking for this interaction,
Exactly.
and you're creating it by leaving food for these creatures, and then, hey, where's my food?
Yep.
Hey, there's people over there. Maybe they got some food. You know, that kind of gifting, I'm against.
Yeah, me too.
What you're talking about, the little trinkets and the stuff like that. Yeah, I can see
Harmless.
that. I can see
Yeah, it's
that.
harmless.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun because I mean, so I'm with you. I'm against the food thing as well because I was also a scuba diver, and you know, as a scuba diver, the last thing you want to do is to be attacked by sharks. And when you're out there diving, and and they're feeding sharks, it's just kind of it puts you in danger. So it's the same concept. It puts other people in danger or yourself if you're if you're feeding the Sasquatch, leaving them food, they get dependent on it. But for me, probably the biggest thing why I don't is for the health reasons. Our food is not healthy food. We
It's
get all
not.
sorts of right. Maybe I shouldn't say that. But we get all sorts of diseases and stuff from our foods. We're always having recalls on our food because of all these problems with it. And now I'm gonna go out there and feed this probably nutritionally pure thing out there, our disease ridden food, and now start giving them our diseases. I don't think that's right.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm opposed to gifting. I mean, the food.
Okay.
They have been managing very well for a very long time without us. They don't need our food. Now, it's
Right.
one thing if they go and go get it, but I'm not going to leave it for them.
Right. Right. We're on the same page then.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. But yeah, so that was quite interesting. And like I said, I wish I could have stayed longer, but here where I'm at, I'm trying to get that going with a clan that I'm interacting with out here. So when I got back from Washington, I was jazzed. I was just like, okay, where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go? Where am I gonna go around here? I've got to find a place to go around here. Well, locally, there's an area called Eureka Springs, Arkansas, which is about 45 minutes, if that, from me. And that tends to be kind of a hot spot. You hear rumors of people seeing things out there, seeing Sasquatch out there. So I'm like, well, okay, use some deductive reasoning, using some skills here. Where's their habitat? Where's an area around here that has a lot of pine trees and a lot of good coverage? Where's there a good water source that also has the coverage? And so as I was kind of doing some detective work, I found a spot, and I went out there, and this was probably one of my most scary encounters. Like I said, just coming off of being out in Washington, I get to a spot. Now, mind you, it's the end of the season, and there's campsites all around this area, campgrounds. And so I drive to the area that I want to investigate. I was just going out there to scout, to even look to see if there was any potential of there might be something out there. I get out there and I get out of my car. And now, mind you, this is a campground and it's closed for the winter. So all the gates were up. So I couldn't pull into the campground. I had to pull off and I parked next to the wrought iron fence they had in front of it. So I pull up and I get out of the car and I hear a knock. And my first instinct was, no, that's probably somebody building something somewhere. Surely not. So I walk around to the back of my car. I'm getting my backpack out that has all my stuff in it. And I'm putting it on. I hear another knock. I was like, this time it was from a different direction. I was like, no. And so I shut the hood of my trunk. I shut my trunk. And I'm walking around the car heading to where the metal gate is. And I hear another knock from the opposite direction. So now I've heard 3. And so basically I'm like, okay, I'm surrounded. Because one was from my right, one was from behind me, and one was from my left. I got that backwards. And I was like, something's here because I'm getting knocks. And so I start walking in. And like I said, I was just going to scout. So I'm like, there's an area over there that's dirt. Let me go over there and see if there's any footprints. So I'm walking over there, la, la, la. And I was out here, bam, bam, bam. 3 knocks fast. And I took that as turn around. You're going someplace you're not supposed to be, like danger. And I just start speaking out and saying, okay, I'm sorry. I said, I didn't know where I was going. I will go another direction. And so before I tell the rest of the story, let me preface this on why, because when I was talking to somebody else, they're like, why didn't you leave? And this is why I didn't leave when that happened and when other stuff happened. During that conference I went to in Yakima, there was a presenter up there that was talking, and they were talking about not being scared, that they will test you to see if you run or not. The speaker was saying, in essence, that they're testing you to see if they can trust you. If you run away, you can't be trusted. But if you stay, you'll gain their respect. You'll gain their trust. So that's, like I said, that was like 2 weeks in between. So that was still fresh in my brain. So that's why I didn't run when I had the 3 happen. And so I'm like, okay, Angie, you just be brave, And so I'm walking this other direction. I'm like, well, I know the river is right there. A river's a good place to go look for footprints. And this particular river, sometimes it's like a muddy, sandy bottom or shoreline, and sometimes it's just all rock. So I was walking over to the edge of the campground to look down to the river to see what type of the shoreline it had, if it was rock or if it was dirt. That particular shoreline right there was like that sandy, muddy. I'm like, well, that'll be perfect. Let me go down there and see if I can see any footprints. So I'm walking down there. Now, mind you, I had a selfie stick and my phone was on it, and I was planning on recording if I saw something. But if I didn't see anything, then obviously I'm not going to record nothing. So it wasn't recording, but it was in my hand. So I get down there and I'm walking all along the river, and I'm walking on the shoreline looking for footprints. And as I'm walking, you can kind of see with your peripheral when something's ahead of you when you're walking. As I'm walking, I see that I'm coming to a dead end. Now, mind you, straight on is the dead end. To my left is a fast-flowing, deep, ice-cold river. Back behind me is this where I came from. And to my right is a tall embankment. The campground is probably 20 feet above me. It's a tall shoreline. There's like a little bluff there that I had to crawl down to get to the river. So as I'm walking, I see this, I have to stop. And as I look up and turn my head, there was still some bamboo that hadn't died out yet from freezing. And there was a den. The bamboo had been woven where it was in the shape of a den. And you could actually crawl in there. You could tell something had been in there. And as I'm looking, I see bones. I see a deer leg, and I see a head, a skull, and I see some ribs. And I'm like, holy cannoli. So I turned on my phone, and I'm like, hey, I'm going, this is Angie with Squatch'ya Doin. I said, I'm here at such and such place looking for footprints. I said, I think I found a den. And as I'm leaning forward to show the bones, I hear this loud noise coming from behind me. And in the video, I have this posted, all my encounters I have posted on YouTube. So you can see the video. as I'm talking and I turn, 'cause I'm hearing that, you see the camera turn. So I'm at the river's edge. There's super tall trees around me, right? This one in particular was probably, I don't know. I'm horrible with distances. I don't know, but it was a super tall tree. Let's just say that. A massive, at least 6 foot plus branch is flying from the campground over the tree, hitting the tree branches as it's going over, makes it over that tree and starts going down and splashes into the water as I'm standing there going, freaking out.
You got this on video?
I didn't get that because it was behind me.
Oh.
It was behind me. I had just had the selfie stick pointing at the den. And when all that happened, I turned, but it was still pointed at that other direction. So at that point, when that was happening, the camera was actually looking at the bluff. It was with my eyes when I did that I saw that happen. It went over my head. And like I said, its branches were hitting the branches of the tree it was going over. It arcs and goes straight down into the water and splashes. Now, I'm there alone. Once again, always alone. And like I said, I was like, and you hear me in the video go, I think I got to go. So I'm like, then the thought hit me, how am I going to get out of here? Because I'm in essence trapped. I can't get into the river because you'll get hypothermia. I mean, it's coming from the bottom of the lake. It is ice cold and it's flowing fast. I cannot climb that embankment. It's too high and there's nothing to grab onto. It's a dead end forward. The only way out is to go back, and that's where the tree branch was thrown.
Oh, wow.
And so I'm sitting there going, crap. What do I do? What do I do? I only have one option. And so I turn around and I'm recording it. And like I said, this is on the video. And I'm just saying things like, okay, I'm sorry. I didn't know where I was. Because I did not know I was about to see that. Didn't have a clue. And I'm like, I'll leave. I'm sorry. I said, but you're going to have to move because I have to leave the way I came down. I said, so, basically move so I can leave. It's basically, in essence, is what I was saying. And in the camera and in the video, you can hear me say, I'm just going to keep this thing running because I don't know what's about to happen. And so as I'm walking, I'm just kind of talking, saying, okay, I'm leaving. And I'm just having the camera pan. I'm not even paying attention to what I'm panning because I'm paying attention to where I'm walking now. And I just have this recording just in case something was to happen. And as I'm walking by, I'm a little, as you can imagine, I'm a little frazzled. So I'm saying things in the video that now I look back and go, why'd you say that? That's not what happened. So when I'm walking by one area, I can see the branch there in the water. And I'm like, I think that was the branch, but I'm not sure that was the branch because it was the only branch in the water. Like I said, I was just a little kind of off kilter when that happened. I was a little scared. And so I get to where I have to now go up the embankment. And I said, okay, I'm coming up now, so you have to move. Now, mind you, I'm not seeing anything, but I'm just putting it out there just in case. So I'm walking up that hill and I get to the top and I kind of walk around this corner where a picnic table is that, is the closest to where I just came up. And I just kind of stood there for a minute, just kind of breathing heavy, trying to figure out what I was going to do. In my thoughts, I wanted to get out of there. But then on the other thought, that Yakima speaker was saying, don't run. Show them that you're not scared. You'll get their trust. And that's what I'm obviously wanting. We all want their trust because we all want to have some sort of interaction. So I'm thinking, Angie, just chill. Just chill for a minute. Just calm down. You're not hurt. They didn't hurt you. They could have hurt you if they wanted to, but he threw it far enough away from you where it wasn't going to even touch you, but it was enough to know to get out of there. So I'm like, okay, you're safe. They're not messing with you. And so I'm just kind of just talking to myself, trying to calm myself down. I'm kind of pacing and I'm walking around and I'm still kind of just videoing as I'm walking. So eventually I'm like, okay, in my head, I'm like, I've been up here long enough. I showed them I'm not scared, but now I'm getting out of here. So I'm walking over to my car and I'm like, okay, I'm leaving now. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go to your food. I'm sorry. So I get in my car and something in my head is still thinking, don't be scared. You're going to show them that you're scared. So as I'm driving away, I'm like, I don't want them to know I'm scared. So dumb me pulls into the next pullout, and I get out of the car, and I'm like, okay, I'm far enough down now. I should be away from them. And I'm going to go over to the river over here and start looking. So before I do, I'm going to make my intentions known of what just happened down there. So I said, okay, I'm going to go to the river, and I'm just kind of telling them what I'm doing. Now, I don't have this part recorded. And as I'm talking, I hear a, huh. And I was like, no. And why is our first instinct always to say no? I don't know why that is. Well, I was just like, did I hear what I just heard? I'm like, no. Then I'm like, did I just hear you say something? I'm like, I thought I heard you grunt, and I heard it again. And I said, peace out. I am not showing you. If you think I'm scared, that's fine. If you know I'm scared, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to go to the river today. I'm like, I'm going to go. See you later. And I get in my car out of there. So that was probably one of the scariest, unbelievable encounters I had. And like I said, on the video, you can see the branch that was thrown. After that encounter happened, and when I was in the process of getting it ready to upload to YouTube, I was watching other videos, and they talked about, do you scrub your videos? When you get home, do you really look at them with a fine-tooth comb to see if you've missed anything? And I wasn't doing that. So I started doing that. And I believe, now some people might call it a blob squatch, and that is fine. You can call it a blob squatch, but I believe I caught the individual in two different places. And like I said, just inadvertently as I was walking and scanning. I do have those posted on YouTube, but it's not on the video. I was new at making these videos, and I didn't know how to add it. And I thought I could put it down in the description. Well, I can't. And then I tried to put it in the comments, and I couldn't do that. So I put it in the post section. It's like if you go where people go and post comments to your page, it's there.
Right.
I need to actually probably post it in an easier place to find. But anyways, so the two images that you can see, one of them is when I'm down at the river and I'm looking up to the top of the riverbank. And it looks like there's an image, the outline is all black, and you can see something squatting down. You can see its head, you can see its shoulders. You can see one arm is on the ground. One arm is on his knee. He's like one knee is bent and the other one's behind him. And he's just kind of squatting, watching. And that's behind some brush that was still alive. The other one that I caught is when I walked up the riverbank and I was kind of walking around that area. I believe he went around to this other area that was right next to the picnic table. There was still brush there that hadn't died off yet. And it was standing behind there, same way. He's standing there the same way. And you can see his outline, his arm, his leg, everything. Just watching me. And I'm sitting here walking. And I was probably no less than 5 feet from him and didn't even know it.
5 feet?
Yeah. I was walking right past that branch. As I was walking around the picnic table, it was just literally on the other side of the bushes. Yeah. And I didn't even know it. So I went back and I scrubbed the videos and I stopped. I'm like, wait a minute, what is that? And then you can see the outline. And so I did the typical Sasquatch Bigfoot thing you do. You circle it and you stick it up there on Facebook, and YouTube for everybody to see. And some people are like, oh, that's a blob squatch. Well, you know what? Everybody has blob squatches. Nobody
you were moving at the time.
And I was moving. Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't like you were set up with a tripod taking the National Geographic style photo.
Yep, exactly. And so, yeah, I believe that I found its den. I found its food. And he threw a branch to get me away from his food. Now, he didn't throw it at me. He threw it near me, just enough to scare me to get me out of there. Right. And it worked, even though I tried not to show that I was scared. But yeah, so that after that instance, boy, howdy, I went back out there that was in November. And I believe December, January, it snowed. And so I told my husband, I want to go out there and see if I can find its footprints. And we did. And I cast his footprint or a footprint in the snow out there.
Really?
It was my very first one. Here.
Well, yeah, we need to see this.
So this is his footprint. Now this is the first, no, I'm sorry. This is the second print I ever did. And I'm still not very good at it. So this is a clump that shouldn't be there. I didn't get it mixed real well. So when I was pouring it, a couple clumps came out. So this is a clump and this is a clump.
Okay.
But otherwise, that's his footprint.
Wow.
And I don't know if you can see, but they're like toes.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You can see kind of where the toes were. But like I said, it was in the snow, so it's not perfect.
And snow's not going to cast the way dirt would.
Exactly. And so this one was, I think it was 12, when I measured it, it was 12 feet long and 5 inches across. I'm 12 feet. 12 inches long and 5
and
inches.
You've got some big hands if that was 12 feet. That's all I got to say. And I don't remember your hands being that big.
Man, I got some giants down here. I meant to say inches, not feet, inches.
Yeah.
So that was, we caught that. So I'm like, yeah, so now that's my spot I go to.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I've caught, well, that's the only footprint I've got from there. I've seen other footprints there, but none of them have really been castable, and because it's just so rocky through there. But yeah, so that's where I'm trying to set up my interactions, and I've been doing trial and error with them. One day I was out there and I had like an orange ball and a blue dolphin, a brown crystal, and, just trying different things and seeing if anything gets messed with, and nothing was for the longest time. Like I said, I have this video series on YouTube of me trying to get interaction with them. And most of them are failures, just like it is in real life. I mean, you don't get stuff every time you go out. I mean, very rarely do you get stuff. And I know this sounds like, I get stuff every time, but I absolutely do not get stuff every time. More
Right.
times than not, I don't get stuff, but I'm trying. So through that whole trying to gift scenario, I had an area that I was going into because it was just kind of easy to get into. And I was there one day and nothing was happening. I wasn't getting any activity except for I had a yellow like plaster Easter egg that I put out there around April. They did not like that. Everything else they would leave alone, but that yellow egg would always end up on the ground because I was up on this branch. Everything else would always be there, unchanged. But that yellow plaster Easter egg would always be thrown to the ground because it'd be in there a bit and I'd have to pull it out. They did not like that for whatever reason. So one day I was sitting out there and it was nighttime and I had just gone out there, dusk, not nighttime. And I was just talking to them I'm trying to get them to recognize who I am, and get comfortable with me. So sometimes I just go out there and talk just so they can get to know my voice. They can get to know my car where they get kind of maybe more comfortable. I'm just trying things, And so I was sitting there by myself and all of a sudden it just sounded like an elephant was going through those woods and it was going to come out. I was just sitting there with my eyes as big as quarters, and then it just stopped. And I was like, oh my gosh. I'm like, well, okay, I'm going to go, I'm getting the car gone. So I go out there a day or two later and I was going to check on my gifting spot, which was right where I heard that noise. They put a tree across the path.
Really?
They blocked me. And I was like, okay.
Now people are going to ask,
Okay.
did you have any storms while you were gone?
Nope.
Anything like that?
Nope.
Was the tree dead or was it alive, like a live tree?
So in the videos, if you go back and watch my early videos of me trying to leave stuff, it's something like, did Bigfoot play with my orange ball or something like that? You can see I believe you can see the tree. It's been there for the whole time I've been going out there. It's just been laying dead next to that path. And
so it was already on the ground.
It was already on the ground. I would have to walk past it to get to my spot. And when I went out there that next time, that dead tree, the whole tree, was picked up and placed on the pathway.
Wow.
Now, mind you, this isn't a pathway that people walk on. I have never seen people in those woods, ever. And so I believe what happened that day was somebody was watching me and decided, no more. And they put the tree there and blocked me. So I'm imagining that's probably the sound I heard when I heard that something was all that rustling going on. That could have been it, or maybe they were just in there moving around. But sometime from that time till I went out there next, the tree got placed across. So now I'm gifting them in another area. And what I kind of interpreted this is, I think I was viewing area, what I call their viewing area, as a gifting area. And with me doing that, they wouldn't be able to come in there as often to view, because it's literally right next to the river. And in the summertime, people are always there fishing, and the people are canoeing and on the kayaks. And I have a feeling that that's the area that they get down in and watch. And if I'm going in and out of there, that's interfering with their secrecy. That's how I interpreted it.
Yeah.
And so they blocked me. So I'm like, all right, fine, I'll go in another way. So now I'm going on top of the mountain, because that was at the bottom near the river. Now there's like kind of a mountain that goes up. I'm walking up now. I have a tree up there that I'm using to put stuff out. And I did have a little bit of activity right before I had foot surgery. They finally started interacting with some stuff, but then I had to stop going out because of my foot surgery. So I'm hopefully going to start going back out there soon. It's kind of hot right now. I don't know how it is up where you're at.
We actually got a reprieve over this past weekend. It was like 70s and 80s.
Oh, nice.
But I think we're getting back into the humidity this weekend, so we'll be back in the 90s.
Yeah, that's how it's been here. The last week and a half, we've had a reprieve. But before that, it was like 99. And then with the heat index, it was over the hundreds, and it was just far too hot. So I haven't been going out. But with that being said, was it the end of April? Oh, mercy, I'm losing track of time. I think it was at the end of April. There was a Falk, Arkansas Bigfoot conference.
Mm-hmm.
And I went down there to just listen to the conference to, keep learning. And while I was out there, was doing some squatching, because what do you do when you go to Falk, Arkansas? With the Falk monster, you go squatching.
Go to Boggy Creek, man. That's
Boggy
where I'm going.
Creek, exactly. And so I attended the conference, went over to Monster Mart, and was in there walking around looking at all their Bigfoot stuff. And there was a gentleman in there, a well-known Bigfooter around this area, and got talking with him. And he told me about Mercer Bayou and Sulphur River Bottom. He said those two places are very active. Whenever they do their squatching, they come and do those areas. Well, where I was staying at this campground, Mercer Bayou was across the street, and Sulphur River ran through the back of our campground. So
wow.
Like, here we go. All right. And so went and did some, you couldn't do a lot of squatching there just because, you don't live there. So, you're not going to be setting up stuff. So I was just going looking for footprints, found some footprints, cast them. So here is a little baby one I got when I was out there. That was like literally right next to the woods. It's super, super cute. And then this is probably the biggest one I've ever cast. And I have a video of this one on Facebook as well. Now this part right here, okay, so let me explain. So you see this big white spot right here?
Yeah.
That was a massive rock. So what I think happened is when he was walking, he stepped on the rock and was like, and kind of went on the outside. And that's what made this mark, because it was even like that. You could see that on the ground, how it had this.
Wow.
But yeah, I have it written. Oh, I thought I had it written on there. I think this one is 16 or 18 inches and 8 inches wide.
Holy cow.
Yeah, it's a big one. I have the videos on YouTube of me casting it and then me pulling it up and all that. So yeah, been having a lot of good success here in Arkansas, but also, like I said, I don't get stuff the majority of the time, but when I do get stuff, it's I think it's pretty great. But
the TV shows, whether it's the ghost hunting shows or the Bigfoot shows and stuff like that, they don't show you all the time that's spent not doing or not getting anything. So when
Yeah.
people go on these ghost hunts or they go out in the woods and be like, I've never seen anything. Well, normally you don't.
Normally you don't.
It's
Yep.
it's like fishing, you know.
You
Sometimes
probably
you
have better
get
luck
something.
fishing.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a good analogy, you know. Sometimes you go out and man, the fish are biting.
Yep.
Other times, nothing.
Nothing.
You're just donating bait,
Yep.
you
That's
know.
and yeah, it's a perfect analogy. That's how it is when you go out looking for stuff, in the Bigfoot world. I would say 99% of the time you don't find anything.
Right. But you have fun because you're in the woods.
Exactly. So it's worth it. You're getting good exercise, you're seeing beautiful stuff. And sometimes you're just flat lucky and you find a footprint where you hear a sound or a knock or, have a tree branch thrown your direction.
I don't know if I want that.
No, I don't think you want that. That was quite unnerving. I was trying to put on a brave face, but man, I was shaking in my boots.
I know I'm going to have people ask this question.
Sure. Ask me away.
Why do you go alone?
That's my only option.
Okay.
Everybody else I know works or they're just completely uninterested.
Yeah.
And so I just put my boots on and go.
Right.
It does get scary. Yeah. I've been scared quite a few times. But, I wrestled with, well, if they were going to hurt me, more than likely they would have already. But then also on the flip side, who's to say they're not having a bad day and decide today's the day? So I go back and forth between,
But I mean, that could happen. That could happen in your car,
it can.
or even if you're not Bigfoot hunting, maybe you're walking around your neighborhood and somebody's dog has a bad day. I like the way you think. I do.
Thanks. So, I mean, like I said, I have to because I have no other choice. But in a way, I don't really mind because I've heard other speakers talk about how they feel that Sasquatch are less intimidated by women and that they're more likely to maybe have interactions or show themselves or whatever to a woman before they would like a big honking man.
Right.
And so maybe that's why I have had the interactions I've had because I've been alone. I'm not intimidating. I don't know.
That's
But
how
yeah.
the she squatchers got started.
Oh, really? I don't know their
Yeah.
story. I know who they are, but I don't know their story.
I'm drawing a blank. He runs the up in Maine. He has that Bigfoot International.
Lauren Pullman.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure Jen told me that he was the one that suggested that she put together a female team
Uh, okay.
because he felt that a group of women out there would not be as intimidating and might spark the interest of the Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So
And that's kind of how I feel as well. And maybe it was him who I heard say that. I don't know who I've seen so many videos in the years that I've been investigating, well, learning, that I heard somebody talk about that.
yeah.
So, and somebody had also talked about how they like continuity because it makes them feel secure. So I always drive the same car when I go out. I always park in the same place when I go out. When I get there, I just start instantly talking, saying, Angie's here, Angie's here. I say my name as much as possible. I actually wear the same perfume every time because I'm hoping that they can start learning my smell. You know how animals are. When you're out in the woods, they smell. If a hunter, you want your smell gone. But in this instance, I want them to know I'm here because I want to try to get them to come closer. And maybe I'm a dingbat for that. I don't know, but that's what I'm doing. And, so I try to wear my hair down because I'm hoping that might interest them as well. So, so I'm doing certain things to try to make it the same every time, so they get to know instantly. Oh, Angie's here, that girl's here, and maybe over time, it's just something I'm trying. If it works, great. If not, well, I'll try something else.
Have you ever camped out there?
I am what you call a day squatcher.
Okay.
The night squatching, I have tried twice, and it scared the bejeebies out of me. And so,
That's
and
fair.
so, interesting enough, I'm trying to get the nerve up to take our camper out to that campground where I do my squatching,
Yeah.
but I'm just really scared. And that's the crazy thing. We try to get interactions, but then, so this is going to sound weird, but I am scared of going out there with my RV and camping, because if I just have this feeling that if they know that Angie's there still, they might make their move, because they know I'm never there at night. I'm always there in the daytime.
Right.
And so they might try to move in close. And are they going to start slapping the side of my camper? What are they going to do? So that flashes me back to Maine when I was so scared. So I don't know. I don't know.
Right.
Part of me wants it, and part of me is just still scared about it, because the unknown. You just don't know what's going to happen.
I get it.
But
Well,
yeah, so I would like to.
Have you ever considered going to Southeast Ohio to look for Sasquatch?
Are you talking about Salt Fork or just
Salt
Southeast?
Fork, Hocking Hills, that whole
I would
area.
go anywhere. I would love to. I just haven't had the opportunity yet, but I would love to.
Yeah, the Ohio Bigfoot conference is this weekend, I believe.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Man.
I think it starts tomorrow, actually.
Oh, bummer.
And it's like the biggest one.
I've heard it's fantastic, and I've heard about it. I just never knew when it was. I guess I never took the time to look up when it was. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll try to make it a point to go next year.
Yeah, I would like to go next year. I used a lot of vacation to go out there.
Oh yeah?
And then I'm going down to Blue Ridge, Georgia here in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I'm going with my wife, and I told her it was for her birthday and our anniversary.
Yeah.
But I'm still me. I'm gonna like sit out on we got us a cabin.
Yeah.
I'm probably gonna sit out on the deck and
sure.
maybe play the Sierra Sounds
Why not?
and see if I can get some reactions and whatever.
For sure.
And I've got to
maybe
go
that's
to the museum down there too.
Say what?
The Expedition Bigfoot Museum.
Oh, there's one over there? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's actually really nice.
Is it? I'm gonna have to go.
We were down there a couple years ago for our honeymoon, and we were looking for a place to go on vacation, and just for shits and giggles, I put in our cabin from our honeymoon.
Yeah.
And it was available for the week we're going on vacation. So I'm like, let's go.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
So where at? What part of, and I know you said the Blue Ridge Mountains, but is that northern Georgia?
Yes.
Where's that at?
It's right where Georgia, Tennessee, and North Carolina all come together.
Okay.
So
nice. Yeah, leave a recorder out overnight. See if you catch any howls in the middle of the night.
Right. Actually, my wife caught something the last time we were down there.
Awesome. Really?
She gets up super early. Me, when I'm on vacation, no. I might get up at 9. I don't know.
Sleep in.
She was out on the deck drinking coffee, and we had just went to the Expedition Bigfoot Museum, I think the day before. So she's not into the stuff like I am. But she was listening to like the Sierra Sounds. They have recordings of it. You put the headphones on, and it was different, like the Ohio Howl, things like that you could listen to. And she was hearing whoops. And like, it took her a while to think about it, but then she turned her phone on and took a video, and she caught one on the video. So
really,
yeah. I was like, why didn't you wake me up?
No kidding. If my husband had heard that samurai chatter, not woken, and left me sleeping, I would have killed him. So yeah, I totally. So what did she capture? Did she capture an image of the Sasquatch?
No, just the sound. She caught the vocalization. It was like a whoop.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, but Angie, this has been a fun interview.
It has. I've had a great time.
And I'd love to have you come back on.
Sure. Anytime you want me to, I'm here.
Next time you get a tree thrown at you.
I don't know if I'd wish for that or not wish for that. I don't know.
Or the next time you catch something, give me a call.
Okay.
You have my number.
Sounds great.
I'd love to have you back on. I really would.
Yeah, I would love to.
Well, why don't you tell everybody once again where they can find you?
Okay. So once again, I'm Angie Unruh. My YouTube channel is Squatch'ya Doin. And my Facebook page is also called Squatch'ya Doin. But yeah, highly would love for you guys to be able to go check out my videos and like them and subscribe, because that would really help a girl out.
Right. And I know we'll never meet at Beachfoot again.
No.
But I'm sure we're going to meet up somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure. With other conferences.
Yeah.
For sure. And who knows, maybe we'll even go squatching together sometime.
Absolutely.
Bring our spouses and go squatching.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Angie, once again, thank you for coming on.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And if you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Follow me on Facebook. Send me that email. I want to hear your stories. Till next time, I'll talk to you later. Gotta go. Once again, thanks to Elite Mounts for the new episode format. If you like this format better than the way I was doing it before, where we do the housekeeping here at the end, let me know in the comments. Make sure you're checking out all the descriptions of all my videos. Down below, you're going to find a list of all my favorite podcasts. Nevermore Hollows, Drunken Cryptids, Chumming with the Spirits, Ghost Gossip. So many great podcasts. I like them. I think you're going to enjoy them. Give them a listen. Myths, Monsters, and Mullets is proud to be a part of Midnight Realm Radio. It's an internet radio station featuring podcasts from the paranormal to true crime that runs 24 hours, 7 days a week. You can find a link down below in the description. I really do appreciate all the support I've been getting over the last couple months. If you haven't yet, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Like, comment, share, tell a friend about the show. That's the only way we can continue to grow. And once again, if you have a paranormal encounter you'd like to share and you'd like to be on the show, you can email me at mythsandmullets@gmail.com. Good night, everyone.
Shadow in the pines lurking in the dusky air. Bigfoot stomps through the woods like he don't care. Lights in the sky flash green then blue. Aliens descending with a secret or two. Whispers in the breeze, cold fingers down your spine.